here's your hosts, Joe Fisher and Jordan Schultz.
The Ducks find their juice. They go to Northwestern for a 9 a.m. kickoff, and they get the dub, 34-14. The Oregon Ducks victorious in Illinois against Northwestern. What a weird game. I don't know about you, Anthony. Anthony Newman in studio with us, by the way.
Here we go. Let's go.
He escaped the early wake-up call.
Yeah, you did.
Yes, I did.
Last week when we were doing the post-game show, I was like, hey, buddy, you better get ready.
No,
you better get ready.
No, that's
4 a.m. show. Let's go now.
Come on.
That's actually when the players had to wake up, I think, Central Time, but still, that's an early wake-up call for a 9 a.m. game.
That's hard.
Oh, dude, I can imagine. I mean, it's just your routine, your day is thrown off.
It's not the same.
You're out on the field warming up at 7 a.m., 6 a.m. local time.
Well, not today because of the lightning, right?
Well, that too. But if you're there for a week, maybe you can get used to it. But a couple of days, that doesn't. No, it's hard.
Yeah, so we got Anthony Newman here, Oregon Duck legend, former NFL pro, and of course Jordan Schultz behind the glass rocking with us. Yeah, I mean, I think just the overall vibes I get with these kind of games, Anthony and Jordan, is just get in there, take care of business, get the hell out of there.
Yes, right.
I mean, and that's what they did. It was a weird game where, you know, I think because of the last 2 weeks, we're so used to those dominant performances. I think my final score prediction was 52-10. And then Northwestern's first possession, you immediately are like, oh, yeah, no, they're going to try and hold on to this rock as long as possible.
Yeah. Well, you know, sometimes you look at this game, this is a bad game. Was it a bad game? But you still whoop somebody pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, so if that's a bad game, I'll take that. You know, and we'll break this down, but like the run defense, they weren't great. But sometimes you have to understand that there's a certain running concept that you have with an offense that works against a certain defense. You know, it's all about points, though. I don't look at yards. Yeah, they ran for more yards than Oregon did, rushing yards. But you have to score more points to win the game. They don't count yards. So, you know, and when it counted, Oregon made those stops. You know, 4th and 1, a couple times 4th and 1. They're on the 10-yard line, their own 10, and he went for it.
That was frustrating.
That was crazy.
Well, that was a good stop on Oregon's end, but there was another 4th down, I think 2 in the first half, where they allowed Northwestern to get it. Yes. Yeah, and that was, I guess that's kind of to the point that for me, the final score didn't necessarily look like the actual game until they scored like that final touchdown. What was it, 34-14, the finish? When it was 31-0, it didn't seem like the game felt like a 31-0 game.
Yeah, no, it was and just to reference what you were saying is like, you know, kind of giving up some of those conversions. But when it came to brass tacks and it was time to put your money where your mouth is, the Ducks, they bended, but they didn't break. They came up with some clutch plays in the red zone, clutch plays in their own territory when that Northwestern offense started to get there. And but again, they held strong. They didn't give up a lot of points until the end there, where Northwestern was able to put up 14 at the end.
They covered the spread, and I lost. I lost a $50 bet, and I may or may not be upset at that. So, yay, go Ducks! But damn it,
you win a lot of units on that one.
Yes, my unit is $7, and so 7 times that's like 8 or 9 units. Yeah, I lost them all.
Boy, going big on the Ducks there.
Go big or go home for my Duckies.
Yeah, but I mean, again, it was just it was evident right out the gate. Because, I'm with you, Jordan. I mean, my final score prediction was them covering, and then Northwestern, that first possession, you're like, oh, boy, they are going to just try and keep this ball out of Oregon's hands for as long as possible. And they did their damnedest to do that, but, you know.
They're not a bad football team, though, Northwestern.
No.
I mean, they made some mistakes that beat themselves, and that's the biggest thing that you hear from coaches all the time. Don't beat yourself, and you can't beat yourself playing or going against a good football team, the number 4 team in the country. There's no way you can throw picks. You can't fumble the football. All those things, and that happened to Northwestern.
Yeah, just taking a look at some of the stats here. Ducks 373 total yards to Northwestern's 313. And I heard Jerry and Jorgie saying this in their post game. 166 of those Northwestern yards came on their final 2 possessions there. I mean, once Oregon started to clear out the bench there and have some of those second, third unit guys in there, started to let some big plays happen. But again, a lot of their yardage coming there at the end of the game. Ducks pass for 197, rush for 176, and Northwestern, 178 rushing yards. But again, they get that long 79-yard touchdown run near the end of the game, only passing for 135. One thing that I loved on this box score, Penalties.
Zero.
Zero.
That's unheard of.
That's a clean game. I was nervous
Huge
there
positive.
at the end a little bit because there was a flag that came out. And I was like, oh, no, there's a first one. And then it was the face mask that was called on Northwestern. So I wiped the sweat from my brow and, I got out of there with a clean game, no penalties.
That means discipline.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, it was there in that aspect, but then as far as like tackling goes, which we'll get into, and maybe it was some of the second and third stringers, but the defense didn't tackle well, so that discipline wasn't there. It was like
because it was 9 o'clock in the morning.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Is like, was that more of a symptom of their first away game on the road, early start, or does it have to do with maybe some questions that you have against? I don't know. Northwestern isn't a formidable opponent, but they're a step up from Oklahoma State, right?
Well, you can't blame, the weather conditions, the field location for playing football. You do what you do. You execute, you don't. But I say again, but sometimes, when you're young, and this is a young football team, and it's the first time traveling, first time, going through that process.
Yep.
It's a 9 o'clock game. Yes, it's 12 o'clock there, but it's 9 o'clock back home for them. They had to wake up, I don't know, 3 hours, 4 hours before the game to eat, maybe some meetings to get warmed up, take the bus, to the stadium. They're waking up at 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning.
That time, yeah.
Yeah. So I think you have to understand that it's not an excuse, but it's a factor. It's there.
Of course.
But it's minor. It's minor because once you start playing, period. End of story.
Well, what I want to do here is let's take our first break already because I know that that team is trying to get the hell out of there to come back home, and Dusty Hara is out there as well, so we don't want to hold him up any much longer. So we'll take our first break and come back with Dusty Hara, sideline reporter for the Oregon Ducks. But first, toss it to Jordan Schultz with a weather update.
Appreciate it, Joe. 70 in Portland right now, actually just up to 71. The Ducks postgame forecast calls for a low of 62. Tomorrow, possible rain, a high of 70. 71 next weekend when Oregon hosts the Beavers.
It's the Great Notion Brewing pregame.
Hey, what it do?
Ahoy! Where you get previews of your favorite band shows.
Try to tell you it's a little weird down there.
Great Notion Brewing. Keep beer fun. Visit one of their 3 local tap rooms. GreatNotion.com.
Damn, do they nail it. We know what you want, Daddy. It's
Swagalicious. Find out what's on tap with the Great Notion Brewing pregame.
Graduate student, snapping back to throw. Looking right, down the middle, tie and incomplete. Ball is intercepted. Betcher picked it out of the air, and Oregon has it inside the 40. Still on his feet at the 30, inside of the 25. Finally a pile pulls him down at about the 21-yard line.
Dickana Dealerships presents the Postgame Scoreboard Show on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1, 1080, and the Odyssey app.
Dick Hanna Dealers post-game scoreboard show here on 105.1 The Fan, 1080 The Fan, the Odyssey app, and YouTube. Right now, we got Dusty Hara, the man on the scene out there in Illinois, Evanston, Illinois, on the sideline for this one. Coach Hara, give me your first impressions of this game against Northwestern. Ducks win 34-14.
Yeah, I think the message got to be like happy, not satisfied, right? You go on the road, you win a game, and you're up 34-0 in the fourth quarter. Things should feel really good. The way it ended, a couple big plays, explosion plays for Northwestern. One of them could have been picked off. It was just a really severely underthrown ball. Other than that, I mean, you're looking at a game where every time Northwestern got the ball moving, Oregon's defense bowed their back. And look, the reality of it is that you're not going to have the rollover games every single week like we saw in the first 2 weeks. You know, there are teams that are going to bow their back, and Oregon's going to get everybody's best shot. And I think today Northwestern gave them that best shot.
Hey, Dusty, talk about just one guy, individual, Jerry Mixon, middle linebacker. This kid he's showing out. And, you know, I'm looking at him play, and the way he reacts to things, this guy's doing his homework. Because that running back ran a pattern that he knew that was coming. It was called the angle route. And Jerry knew that was coming, and he jumped it and got the pick. And last week, the same thing. This guy is he's a player. He's a big kid, 6'2", about 245, a big inside linebacker who can run sideline to sideline. Talk to me about, you know, watching him on the sideline. What's he looks like?
He just has a really high football IQ, and you hear just from everybody, you know, you heard about it during fall camp, is that Jerry Mixon's out there making plays. And nobody was surprised that he had a pick six last week, and nobody was surprised that he had an interception this week. And you'll love this, Anthony, because of the era of college football that we're in right now. I talked with Jerry for our pregame interview this week, and he said, you know, he's now a junior. He got early playing time as a freshman, but he said, you know, in the interview, I was calling home crying to my mom and dad about me not fitting in here and me not being good enough to play. And the one thing his mom told him is, we're not quitters. You never quit. You're going to see it through. And he's seen it through. And boy, he's reaping the rewards of sticking something out in the era of the transfer portal, in the era of NIL, where everybody says, you know, football is broken. There are guys and there are teams that keep people around and grow them as athletes, and that's what we're seeing with Jerry Mixon. That's
crazy because, you know, Dusty, I had the same story growing up with going to Oregon my freshman year. I called, crying to my mom, said, this is not for me. I can't make it. This is hard. She goes, you're not going anywhere. You know, keep working. And Jerry Mixon is that guy, and I think he could be a great NFL player moving forward because just watching him play on the field, he understands the game, and that's what I like.
And I think one thing that people are missing is, like, we're seeing the interceptions, but he's that assist guy. He's the almost guy, right, where he's making a play so somebody else can make a play. And you know this more than anybody, Anthony, and you could speak to this, is that that's most of what you do in the National Football League, is you are doing your job, and it creates opportunity for other people.
Yep.
And I think if you go back and you watch the film of Jerry Mixon, there are so many plays that he makes that are for other people to get the stat.
Yeah, the great Vince Lombardi said, winners never quit and quitters never win. So it sounds like that phrase is still not only in players' heads, but their parents' heads as well. I love that. Really quickly, Dusty, can you address maybe that slow start that Oregon had to the game that we haven't seen yet this season being because of something like a new environment for the team on the road? They're waking up way earlier than they're used to. Dan Lanning can say, you know what, guys, it's just like our practices. It's the same time all he wants all week. But I don't know, was that a factor today? You're right there. It just seemed like the team didn't feel the same as they did the last couple of weeks. But once again, it's a little better opponent too.
I mean, yes, and it was Northwestern's best shot. And up front, Northwestern was really good. And they were stout heading into this game. The interior of their defensive line is really good. The interior of their offensive line is really good. But, you know, Coach Lanning isn't going to make an excuse about the early kick. But I'm telling you, we woke up here for the broadcast crew. We woke up at 4 a.m. Central Time. That's 2 a.m. Pacific Time. So we could get to the stadium at 5:15, right? If those guys are waking up at, for an 11 a.m. kick, if they're even waking up at 6 a.m., that's 4 a.m. Pacific time. It is early, and I think the numbers bear it out with West Coast teams that go and they play in these big noon kicks, that they're just not very successful. And, again, Oregon and Coach Lanning, they're never going to use that as an excuse, but I think it played a role. I think the environment kind of played a role. It's an odd stadium setup. It's really cool when you're looking out over Lake Michigan, but it's so bizarre to go and do a Big Ten football game and it's only 12,000 people, right? I mean, it's kind of this wild feeling. So I think a lot of things kind of played into it. And then when you have a bullseye on your chest of being the defending Big Ten champs, everybody in the Big Ten is going to come at you, and that's what Northwestern did today.
Well, Dusty, you deserve a nap. That's all I can say. A very, very long nap on the plane, and then when you get home. Appreciate you calling in. I know that you guys are trying to get out of there, so we'll let you go, and we will catch up with you on Monday, man.
Perfect, guys. Thank you. Appreciate you.
That was Dusty Harris, sideline reporter for Oregon Ducks football, and, of course, brand fan manager here at 105.1 The Fan, 1080 The Fan Sports Network. Yeah, I mean, he said it right there as far as wake-up time and when the hotel room is calling the room 2 a.m. for them locally. That's or early. Our time here. Yeah.
That's early.
No,
I won't even wake up for a tea time that early.
Right? Well, can you? Yeah, it's like, do they have like the overhead lights on the golf courses that I don't know about?
Yeah, really.
I like how you put that, Anthony. It's a factor. It's not an excuse, but you definitely need to consider it as a legitimate factor.
Yeah, well, again, that's where I think with games like this, and it's kind of similar to like Purdue last year, a Friday night game, your week shortened a little bit. Like, get in there, take care of business, get the dub, go 1-0 on the week, and get out of there.
But it doesn't affect the whole game. It's always just the beginning.
Right.
It's that maybe quarter, half a quarter, maybe it goes into the second quarter, but then you start playing. Then you get into the groove. And then you're unstoppable if you're a really good football team like Oregon is.
We're going to take a quick break. You can text in to the program here, 503-864-6326. That's 503-864-6FAN. Or you can jump on the YouTube chat. I see my son has hacked into my YouTube account because so far there's only one comment on the YouTube chat, and it's from me somehow. So my son
I thought that was you.
Yeah, so my son is somehow hacked into my account on the iPad or something out here. But yeah, I want to come back and share a couple thoughts that we do have on the text line here, because while it was a win for the Ducks, there might be some things to clean up as they look forward to Oregon State next week. We take a quick break, come back, but first, weather update with Jordan Schultz.
Thank you, Joe. 73 in Portland. The Ducks postgame forecast calling for a low of 62. Tomorrow, possible rain, a high of 70. 71 degrees next weekend when Oregon hosts Oregon State.
Why is Macy's one-day sale the one sale you can't miss? For starters, you'll find our best prices of the month on fall's top trends, like
18. Stone snapping back to throw. Pump fake hit and will go down. There is your sack. Mateo Uyangalale with a sack. Forced up inside was Stone, and then Mateo was right there.
Nope. Dick Hanna Dealerships presents the Postgame Scoreboard Show on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1, 1080, and the Odyssey app.
Dick Hanna Dealers Postgame Scoreboard Show here on the Fan Sports Network. Joe Fisher III, Anthony Newman rocking with us in studio, Jordan Schultz as well. Wanted to read a couple texts here because I would say that the most, I don't know if polarizing is the right word, but the most attention-grabbing thing about this team this year is that running back room. The depth, who should be getting the carries. I mean, literally every single text we got so far has to do with the running back room. Someone did text in, didn't see any stats for Noah. He was out today. He was questionable coming into the game with an undisclosed injury.
Mysteries.
Yes, so he did not have any work today. Jaden Lamar was the starting running back for the Ducks today. He had, have it in front of me right here, he had 11 carries for 38 yards and a touchdown. You also had De'Aaron Hill with 5 carries, 94 yards and a touchdown, 66 of those yards coming on a touchdown run. Jay Harris, 3 carries for 25. Jordan Davison, 4 for 8. Mekhi Hughes, 1 carry for 5 yards. But yeah, I mean, we see the depth of the running game again this week, Anthony.
Well, you saw the future of the running game at one point when D. Hill scored. He had Davidson as the fullback, which is not the fullback, but there's 2 backs in the backfield.
Which
they're side by side. But Davidson, he's what, 6'2", 230.
Yeah, he's the
big boy. Yeah, he's
the
the big boy. But D. Hill can do anything. He's a receiver. He's a running back. I mean, what else could he do? He reminds me. I'm not saying he's not D'Anthony. It's not that. But he can do different things, and he's dangerous. You can put him all over the field, which is tough to defend because you don't know where 23 is going to line up. And then, hey, somebody has to guard 23. Well, do we take a safety? Do we take a corner? Is it a linebacker? That's a matchup problem, along with the other, guys who can play on this Oregon offense like Kenyon Sadiq. I mean, he's ridiculous. But did you see him blocking? Did you see all the receivers blocking downfield? That is a positive for this offense. I mean, I'm telling you right now, I haven't seen it from any other offense in the Big Ten or whoever they're going to end up playing. Receivers don't block downfield normally. These guys do.
That's actually one thing I wanted to praise the Ducks for this week, Anthony, and you get right into it. Not only, I mean, Jordan Davison, I said it a couple weeks ago, he's like the new Cyrus Habibi-Likio. He's just that, big up front, but still got speed at the running back kind of guy. I mean, he's already got 5 touchdowns for Oregon this season. Like, when you look at the plethora of touchdowns spread out, like, he leads the team because he's got the most strength and he's kind of your, up front, force it in the middle kind of dude. But on top of the blocking from him, you, like you said, Anthony, have blocking from the rest of the running back room, the tight ends, and the receivers. I went back and watched film of the Oregon-Oklahoma State game last week, and you could just see it. We were praising the offensive lineman, Joe, on last week's postgame show, but you could see Kenyon Sadiq and the cut blocks over the stunting that the wide receivers were doing. Everybody was nailing their blocks, and obviously when you're crossing over, that's when the defense gets confused. That's why you do those stunts and those pulls. Oregon's offensive line and their skill position players are blocking at least what we've seen. I'd say about an 80% clip today. They are blocking every single guy, and they're doing it with vigor. It's something I've never seen from an Oregon team before.
Also, going back to the running back group, here's my question. How do you keep these guys? You have so many, right? And think about this. You always have a bell cow. But the bell cow, usually he carries, 25 carries a game? Maybe 27? These guys are getting 3, 6, 5, 8, 10. Do you get loose? Do you get, lathered up in the game because, you're getting used to carrying the ball, you know how it feels. But if you're only getting 3 touches, how do you get loose?
Yeah, it's a great question, but it just kind of seems that in college for the most part and what we've been seeing in the NFL, that the bell cow running back, it's a rare breed.
I know.
And This is one of the texts that we got. Feed De'Aaron Hill Jr. averaging 14.5 yards per carry. Quit effing around with Lamar and Jay Harris. Well, I kind of pushed back on that. I'm like, I don't care who. Last week Lamar had 12, 13 yards a carry. Yeah. So to me, it's just spoiled with riches here. Like whoever's the hot hand, ride it. Next week we could be sitting here talking. Mekhi Hughes maybe has his breakout game against Oregon State. Yeah. Maybe Jay Harris has a breakout game. I mean, like to me, it's. If I've got 4, 5, 6 options in the running back room and how those guys talk, they're all happy for each other. Also, which, saying it is one thing, I'm sure Mekhi Hughes, that is a big question mark with what he did at Tulane in the 2 seasons that he had there.
1 carry today.
And so it's been kind of a slow start for him and people probably expected more, but as a Duck fan, as someone who just wants to see a win, and that's kind of what it is. That's what you want your locker room to be like is, did we get the win? Did we all contribute? Did we all help get the W today? What did we have to make sure this guy got this many catches, this many run? To me, if there's a guy that is standing out, give him the rock. And if it's somebody else next week, give him the rock.
Well, also people need to understand it's not just running the football. It's blocking, being a receiver out of the backfield, knowing the checks. You have to be a smart football player, and that's what they're looking at. And can you do other things? Can you play special teams as well? I mean, sometimes, if you're not the bell cow, put you back on punt return, on kickoff return. We'll find a way to get the ball in your hands so you can do more. But I think it's just Oregon is lucky. You don't have this. You don't have 8 guys who can run the football that can start anywhere. It's just. So it's going to be hard to keep all of them. After this year, I'm telling you, you can't keep all these dudes if they're getting 3 carries a game.
I do, though, think that the absence of Noah Whittington might have, on top of the time and the travel and everything, contributed to their slow start because they got a couple of first downs and then went 3 and out in that first series for Oregon. And Whittington, what was it, a 40-yard run? Play 1 of the season for Oregon in game 1, and then game 2 he capped off their opening drive with like a 60-some yard run. So that experience, and that familiarity with Oregon's offense, I think helps kind of set the tone. And I do wonder, despite the talent in the running back room, if the absence of Whittington might have played a little bit into that slow start today as well.
Yeah, the Ducks running back room though gets total 30 carries, a couple carries for DeCorian Moore, Luke Moga getting in there. Riggs got a couple carries as well towards the end. 30 carries overall, 176 yards, 3 touchdowns, 5.9 yards a clip though. I mean, that's an efficient running game there, Anthony.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain at all. I mean, 176 yards, and you had 8 guys carrying the ball.
Well, and
guys arrested.
Exactly. Who's getting injured?
Guys arrested
if they're carrying it 10 times as opposed to one bell cow.
They're healthy.
30 times for 10 games.
Yes, they're healthy.
Another text here that's interesting. These running backs nowadays are perfectly fine getting 10 carries a game and not getting run down. Then going to the NFL fresh. Georgia and Bama have been doing it for years. I mean, it's a good point. I mean, if you have a guy that is getting 20, 30 carries a game in the first 4 or 5 games, and then you're trying to depend on him late in the season, and he's like, I have been hit so many times. I have been rocked so many times. And I think that's a great point to bring up, is that these guys are going to be fresh throughout the season because they're rotating in. They are not being run down, and halfway through the year they're tired.
You're happy when you have success and you're running the football and you have maybe 110 yards or maybe 97 yards. When you only have 4, you have 5 carries and you have maybe 16 yards. Can I get more carries? You're going to complain. Yeah. I need more carries.
Yeah, I think you do bring up a great point. And it's something, Dan and the staff are going to have to address once we come to the end of this season is, some of these guys are going to be happy with their performance this season and happy with the team's performance, but they're going to be like what Mekhi Hughes probably felt like coming in this year. It's like, I did this at Tulane. I had great years. Let's step it up a notch. Let me be the guy over at a Power 4 program like at Oregon, and then maybe Jay Harris, maybe Jalen Lamar. I mean, Jalen Lamar, he's been waiting his turn, so he might be sticking it out over here. But there's a lot of guys, a lot of mouths to feed in that backfield. That's a good problem to have. That is a good problem to have.
I'll take that any day.
Yes, sir. All right, we'll take a quick break here. We're going to come right back after this weather report, though. It is the Dick Hanna Dealership postgame scoreboard show on the Fan Sports Network. But for Jordan Schultz, weather update.
Thanks, Joe. Right now, 73 in Portland. The Ducks postgame forecast calls for a low of 62. Tomorrow, possible rain, a high of 70. 71 degrees, though, next weekend when Oregon hosts Oregon State.
Dick Hanna Dealerships presents the Postgame Scoreboard Show on the Fan Sports Network. Dick Hanna, believe in nice.
Dante Moore snapping back to throw. Steps up, throws toward the end zone. Sadiq's got it for the touchdown. Kenyon Sadiq turns around, backing up, and grabs that ball, falls into the end zone. Touchdown, Oregon.
Time for the second half. Oregon Ducks football on the Fan is brought to you by Coors Light, Dick Hanna Dealerships, Philbrook Law, Zoom Care, Bellagio's Pizza, Langdon Farms Golf Club, Wilsonville Toyota, Mountaintop Metal Roofing, Victor Rico's Mexican Food, Legends Casino Hotel, Mods PDX, and Laurelhurst Market Steakhouse and Butcher Shop. The Dick Hanna Dealerships post-game scoreboard show on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1, 1080, and the Odyssey app. Drives on. Here's your hosts, Joe Fisher and Jordan Schultz.
Welcome back into the Dick Hanna Dealership post-game scoreboard show. I'm Joe Fisher. Across the faux marble table, got Anthony Newman with me, and of course Jordan Schultz with me. Ducks get the win 34-14. They jump out to a 34-0 lead. I know if anybody was hoping for that shutout, it was you over there.
You knew that, didn't you?
Yeah. I was thinking, when they punched that ball in on that fourth down, I was like, Anthony's not going to be happy about that.
No, that happened last night in my football game.
Oh.
It's just when I tell the young guys, okay, you're going to go in. You're under the spotlight.
For the love of God, please.
You got to keep up the standard. You don't be dropping down and all of a sudden, yeah, they score a touchdown against us.
Well, was it the second or third stringers, or was it the starters, Anthony?
It was the third stringers.
There you can see that. Come on, man.
Kid you haven't talked to all season.
It's all good.
I didn't say anything, though. I'm saying it now, I guess, on the radio. But
Sorry, I put you on the spot. Blame me.
I didn't say nothing last night. It was all good. It was, it was good.
Well, we talked about the running back room, this game overall. Let's switch to the other side of the ball, Anthony, and talk about their defense performance. Because, they were pitching shutout for 3/4 of this game. Again, they kind of let it go at the end there, 166 yards in those final two drives. But as you mentioned, you had some of those second, third string guys coming in there. Let's talk about the overall defense performance, not just for this game, but just for the start of the season, what you've been seeing.
Well, this defense is much better than it was last year. The front seven is controlling the game, and that's what you need to control the game is the front seven on both sides of the ball. Offensive line, you need them for an offense. For defense, defensive line. They can create problems in the running game, also in the passing game. And the linebackers. Today, the linebackers were all over the place, sideline to sideline. And another thing that's important for defense.
By the way, did you know Bryce Betcher played baseball?
Yeah. And a very good baseball player at that.
That is the new Bo Nix and Tez Johnson are brothers. You're going to hear that all year long.
It is, and it's going to be interesting to see, okay, what sport are you going to take? What sport are you going to do at the next level?
Yeah,
you might have a shot at the next level in football. I think you will. I know you will. But also in baseball.
His stats were damn good. He got drafted by the Astros, for F's sakes.
I don't know. It's all it's tough. That's a tough question, and he's the only one that knows the answers. But I know this defense, they know how to turn the ball over, and that's really important.
Yes.
Get the ball back to the offense so the offense has opportunities to score. As a defense, Northwestern's they were 3-11 on third down. That's getting off the field.
We were saying this watching that game. You wouldn't have thought that was the stat that they were 3 for 11 from third down. But as the game went on, they started to shut them down a little bit more on third down. But yeah, just kind of the flow of the game. It was it just seemed like they were doing a little bit better converting, but 3 for 11, not a bad day.
Watching Northwestern, they were winning on first and second down. So like it said, 2nd and 8, they were getting a first down on second down. They were converting on second down. Mm-hmm. When it got to third down, Northwestern had a problem trying to convert. Also, time of possession. Northwestern, they were 32 minutes, and Oregon was only 27 minutes. So they were holding the ball, but yet on third down, they were 3 for 11. It's a weird stat. You're trying to put it together. but it's all about the points.
I mean, basically, what those two long drives, the one in the first quarter and the one in the third quarter, was
Correct.
where they were the only 3 times that they were successful on third down. And I think what's encouraging to me is the freshmen that we're getting in today. Aaron Flowers and Naeem Offord specifically, 7 tackles for Flowers from the defensive back spot. And it wasn't just like guys catching the ball. He was getting in on the running back.
in there,
that was encouraging to me. Obviously, we expect to see, Tuioti and then Betcher doing what they do, but seeing Bear Alexander getting in today, Dylan Thieneman getting more tackles. This defense, despite having some rough spots today, looked pretty complete at times.
Well, and I do want to go to the rough spots because going into this game, one of the things for the defensive side of the ball that I wanted them to see was keep that run game in check, because you are going to go up against next week, regardless of what happens with Oregon State. They got a good running back there. They got 2 good running backs. And then the week after, you're going against one of the best running attacks in the nation when you have to travel over to Penn State. So, I mean, what are you seeing on the defensive side in the run game, and then trying to stop that? Because it felt like they were getting some good 5, 6, 7 yard run plays.
Give Northwestern some credit up front. They have some big boys who can play. One's going to be a high draft pick. They can run the ball, and that's what they want to do. They want to run the football. There's a certain type of defense that sometimes you go against a team, and that defense, that scheme is not working very well. Now, Northwestern didn't have any players that could take it 60. That's the problem they had. Yeah, you can get 3 or 4 or 5 yards and keep getting 3 or 4 or 5 yards, but this is what a defensive coordinator told us all the time in the league. It's okay for a team to get yards and drive down the field, because this game is made for the offense to win. So they're going to move the football on the defense. But at one point, all of a sudden now you have to dig your heels in and say, nope, you stop right here. You're not scoring. You're not getting across the goal line. And so think about this. Going into the fourth quarter with a minute to go, I think it was 1:48, they finally scored that second touchdown. But they only had the 1 touchdown. So all that time you were seeing, stop the run. Come on, stop the run. What are you guys doing? But they never scored. They're moving the ball. They're getting yards. But, okay, now it's maybe, 3rd and 3. Well, that 3rd and 3 sometimes is hard to get. When Oregon changes their defense, they put more defensive linemen in different gaps. They bring up the linebackers. Now Oregon's saying, no, we're going to stop the run on this play, and they do that a few times. It's going to go back and forth. I think the biggest thing is that Oregon knew that they could get some yards, but they didn't have a game breaker who was running the ball. And that's when it gets scary and when it gets dangerous. When you have a guy who can take it 60 at any time, and you're like, oh, okay, now we got to watch this guy. Oregon didn't have that threat. That's why this defense was kind of vanilla, to be honest. Looking at it, there wasn't a lot of stunts. There wasn't a lot of blitzes. Stunts meaning when you have defensive linemen, one guy go one way, the other guy goes the other way, they cross each other. Or blitzes when you take the linebackers and they were blitzing. At the time when we saw linebackers blitzing during this game, it was a tackle for loss. They came after him. Oregon didn't do that for a whole lot. They kind of just played vanilla, and then the Northwestern got some yards.
Yeah, the vanilla part that you're talking about, I think at least my biggest concern for Oregon's defense today was the runs up the middle by their 2 running backs. Was it Kalafe and Hyman, the guys' names? Like, their running backs are decent, okay? They've got skill in the backfield, but that was kind of what was worrying me about Oregon's side of things. They weren't getting the penetration like they normally do into the backfield. And I'm like, well, is this because it's an early game, or is it because this offensive line is kind of good and that's what they're known for? But then, once again, Oregon's going to Penn State in 2 weeks. Facing a much bigger and better offensive line, So, yeah.
And better running backs.
Exactly. So we saw a little bit of that sprinkled in today, and Oregon was able to overcome it. But I just wonder, is that something that Ducks fans should be concerned about long term? I'm not worried about it, but I'm questioning it at this point, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Well, I think if you're going to have a game that shows this, thank God it happened today, right? And it doesn't happen against a Penn State where it's like, wow, this run defense is a huge problem that we need to address. It's not a huge problem right now. I mean, besides that big run that they had, and you want to talk about like the 3rd down conversions being 3 of 11, and it didn't really feel like it. Yeah. Before that big run at the end of the game, they'd only given up 99 rushing yards. Exactly. And I understand there is sacks that are taken away from that. So, it's a, kind of 99 yards that isn't true to that fact, but still, I mean, like, have that performance and have this on film now versus when you get to those better teams with better running games, because it's only going to get harder. Not just Penn State, but as the season goes along.
Oregon State's going to run the ball next week.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
That's what they do.
That's what I said. This is the type of game, they say that, you have failures, you're able to learn from that. Wasn't a failure today, but you saw enough from Northwestern's run game that you're going to have stuff on film that you're going to be able to look at like, we need to fix this, we need to correct that. I would say that is the saving grace of having a performance like this with the run defense. Also, when you look at the team, there wasn't a lot of mistakes out there, right? I mean, the DBs didn't have any broken coverages. On offense, there wasn't a lot of drops. No one fumbled the football. No sacks. So the running game for Oregon, against Oregon, that's what stood out. So that's what catches everybody's eye. Oh, well, God, they're running the ball right down the middle. Gotta find something.
Yeah, you gotta find exactly right. You gotta find something.
The last 2 weeks we've been struggling here. So what do we improve? What do we look at here? I mean,
and Oregon says, "Hey, I'll let you beat me a little bit this way." So again, then he said they're getting some runs up the middle, but they're not scoring points out of it. No. So I think that's the ultimate. I agree. I get it. Maybe I'm finding things to nitpick. You guys are right.
Well, you're right though. You have to get better. Well, honestly,
I saw missed tackles today. I saw runs up the middle.
You're right. Correct.
What did Dan Lanning grade their 69-3 win last week? Like a 72% or something like that? Yeah. What's a B in Dan Lanning's mind? What's an 85% in Dan Lanning's mind?
This might be a 62.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that because on the drive in, I'm like, all right, let's put a letter grade on this. I was like, I'll give it a B. I'll give it a B. But now that you said that, I'm like, Dan's like, hell no.
No,
62.
This is a D+.
D+.
Yeah. Well, I want to take a break because I do want to get to your favorite position group. I want to get to that secondary and DB room next because what we've seen through the first 3 games and today, very impressive, very encouraging. We get to that next here on the Dick Hanna Dealers post-game scoreboard show. But first, Jordan Schultz with a weather update.
Thank you, Joe. Now 74 in Portland, the Ducks post-game forecast calling for a low of 62 tomorrow, possible rain, a high of 70, and 71 degrees next weekend when Oregon hosts Oregon State.
If you're considering new construction,
down Oregon. Great movement right. Man, they had everybody moving right except for one guy.
Dick Hanna Dealerships presents the post-game scoreboard show on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1, 1080, and the Odyssey app.
Dick Anna Dealers post-game scoreboard show here on the Fan Sports Network. Joe Fisher III, Anthony Newman in studio with us today. Ducks legend, former NFL pro, and then across the glass, Jordan Schultz as always. Wanted to get to this defensive group that you know very, very well, Anthony. The secondary, the DBs, because they locked them down today. I mean, they gave up 135 yards. Really, the two biggest pass plays that they gave up, one of them was kind of a throw it up, and hopefully the guy comes down with it. And then there was another bigger play that was down the field for about 31-ish yards, something like that. But, I mean, outside of those, kind of fluky-ish pass plays, the defensive back and secondary, they're holding the pass game in check. But what I've liked out of them, they are flying around and they are hitting dudes.
Oh, they'll hit you.
Yeah.
They're
not afraid to lay some
safeties, Thieneman and Kingston Lopa will hit you. He's 6'5", Lopa, 6'5" at 215. That's
biggest safeties they've ever had.
I have never seen a safety 6'5". I'm serious. That's unheard of. I mean, Steve Atwater for the Broncos was like 6'4", 225. Kingston Lopa 6'5". It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, the secondary, what I'm looking at, they're playing smart. And here's the crazy thing about it. I don't think there are any seniors that are playing. There might be maybe one, but they're all redshirt freshmen or freshmen, juniors, and yes, some might be able to transfer, but they're young and they haven't played together in a long time. And sometimes that's hard when you haven't played next to another guy because you have to have the communication always intact. You need to know how he's going to play, what he's going to do, know each other very well. And these guys haven't given up the big play, the big play for a touchdown. Yeah, you might have a 30-yard, throw and catch, but you tackled them, and they didn't score. But broken coverages, I haven't seen that yet. And that is huge because years ago watching the Ducks, every time you turn around, there was a broken coverage. And that means you're just giving somebody something. Okay, I'll just give you 6 points because no one covered that guy. Somebody's supposed to have him. And you got two guys standing at the line of scrimmage. You don't see that with this young group. And they're young. These guys are babies and they're ballers, and except for maybe Thieneman, they're all 6'1", 6'2", 6'3". No, I think Dylan's about
big too.
Yeah, he's tall too.
He's like 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, he's tall. They're all tall. The corners are 6'4". I mean, and that's what you need in today's game because now you're getting these receivers who are 6'5", 6'6", like Casper. You got to have the guys who can match up against these guys, and you don't usually see tall defensive backs. You don't see tall corners, and we're seeing that.
Yeah, go ahead, Jordan.
No, I was just going to say very quickly, I think I've said it a couple of times this season, I specifically think those big defensive backs and safeties, you talk about bigger matchups with wide receivers, they're keying in on Ohio State's Jeremiah Smith. They're trying to find a way to beat those NFL-style big
receivers.
Very long-ranged wide receivers.
Over the 3 games, the Oregon Ducks, they have given up 400 passing yards over 3 games.
Yeah, that's
400
really
over 3 games.
That's really good.
Averages out to 133 yards.
And
they have yet to give up a passing touchdown either.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, no touchdown passes today. No touchdown. Definitely no touchdowns at all last week.
Yeah, you're right.
And then the one that came against Montana State, it was not a passing touchdown. So, I mean, this secondary group, I mean, when you look at that, too, you're like, what? Like you kind of said, you're like, oh, wait, what? You haven't given up a touchdown yet? They're going to play some better quarterbacks throughout the season. But, I mean, that is very impressive start for this unit through 3 games.
And the depth of this team, period. But the secondary, the running backs, we'll get to receivers later. It's deep. And everybody's fresh. And what it also creates competition because you want to stay on the field as a player.
Right.
You don't want to come off. You want to tell the coach, look, hey, I can play. I can make plays. Oh, no, you can come off now. You get some rest. Get somebody else in there. And you're like, now the other guy's running on there, and he doesn't want to come off the field. So it's creating a great, competitive edge of let's compete. I'm going to make plays, but I want to stay on the field. But they understand when it's my time to come off, I'll come off, and the next guy can jump in. And that's a great team effort right there because you're playing as a team, not as an eye guy.
Yeah, the secondary has been extreme. It's hard to say that every single unit hasn't been impressive. And every single unit has guys that fit the mold. The defensive line, they showed a graphic on the Fox broadcast today. It's just the guys on the defensive line, 6'3", 330, 6'2", 320, 6 foot, 315.
Smallest guy's 303 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's okay.
Yeah.
They big.
But and then we go to the linebacking core. Like, yes, we have Bryce Betcher, but I mean Jerry Mixon is a big guy too.
Yes, he is.
I mean those guys look and have that linebacker look. I know a few years ago we had some guys playing linebacker that, yeah, they were playing the position, but might have been a little bit undersized as well.
Devin Jackson is about 6'4", about 250 as a linebacker. Standing up back, there's the linebacker. He looks like a defensive end.
Right.
And he's playing linebacker, and he can run. That's unheard of.
And then, as we mentioned in this segment, I mean, just the DB group, long, lanky, flying around, keeping everything in front of them, not giving up the big plays. And again, just what I saw last week and then I saw again this week, as we brought up earlier in the show, Flowers, I mean, Thiemann, they're flying around and they're laying hat. When you can get cornerbacks and safeties, I mean, strong safeties obviously aren't afraid of going and making hits. The free safeties sometimes, but corners, safeties all around, they're flying to the ball and they're making their presence felt.
What I'm seeing with this defense is we call it RP, relentless pursuit. I'm seeing a lot of guys to the football.
Yeah.
Because you never know what happens. The guy might break a few tackles, or we call it missed opportunities. If you don't hustle to the football, the receiver's running with the football and he fumbles the football and it comes out, and then maybe some offensive lineman's running downfield and he lands on the football. But if we're hustling to the football, we will get that football, and now it's a turnover. Get it back to our offense because of RP, relentless pursuit.
It's all linebackers that have got the pick so far, right? Mixon with 2. Woodyard's also a linebacker, if I'm not mistaken, and then Bryce Betcher, the 4 total interceptions.
No,
this year.
Peyton, he's a DB.
Oh, my bad. My bad. So the majority.
He's got that 44 on. It looks like.
Well, he's a big safety,
number.
so he looks like a linebacker. Forgive me, as we were just talking about. But it's a pretty crazy stat that a majority of the picks so far this year through 3 games have come from the middle 3, the linebackers. I mean, I think it kind of speaks to the fact that not only have the defensive backs not had broken coverage or given up the big play like we were just talking about so far this year.
Correct.
But the quarterback isn't even looking that far because the defense is either covered up so well, like Tosh Lapoi's just disguising everything he's doing, or they're just more talented than all the teams they've been playing so far this year. It's been a huge win for Oregon. And when you see linebackers getting these picks, it's something else, and I think we're going to see at least a pick or 2 against Penn State. I'm predicting that now.
My apologies, getting numbers mixed up. Tatum, Tuioti, 44, and Woodyard, number 12.
It's 12.
Actually. Yeah.
Number 12.
But I mean, I don't blame Jordan on that. I mean, Woodyard's pretty big kid.
He looks like a linebacker. Excuse
me.
He
does. That's what I'm saying. He does. They're big.
Yeah. Now, just an impressive performance by the secondary today, and again throughout the season so far. This is going to be interesting what we do in this next segment, player of the game, because when you have a deep performance by so many different guys out there, it's hard to key in on just one. But we'll do our best next with the Mountaintop Metal Roofing player of the game. But first, weather update, Jordan Schultz.
Thank you so much, Joe. 74 in Portland right now. The Ducks post-game forecast calls for a low of 62. Tomorrow, possible rain, a high of 70. Then 71 degrees next Saturday when Oregon hosts Oregon State.
Whether you're looking for urgent or primary care, you need care that's ready when you are. Not
This is the Dick Hanna Post-Game Scoreboard Show on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1, 1080, and the Odyssey app. Time now for the Mountaintop Metal Roofing Player of the Game.
On 3rd and 8 from their own 45, back to throw Dante Moore. Pressure comes, gets away from it. Will throw it downfield. It's caught down at the 35, and Benson will have the first down for Oregon. Blake Benson. And Dante Moore is really playing well.
Do it once, do it right. Mountaintop Metal Roofing.
Dick Hanna Dealers post-game scoreboard show right here on the Fan, and it is time for the Mountaintop Metal Roofing Player of the Game. Dante Moore, we haven't gotten to him yet.
Nope.
Talked about running backs, secondary, defense, all sorts of stuff, but we have yet to get to the guy that is leading the offense, and that is Dante Moore, our player of the game. Again, you can go a lot of different routes with player of the game. De'Aaron Hill returning back to his home state. He only had 5 carries, but he made the most of them, especially with that 66-yard touchdown run. But Dante Moore, man, outside of that interception, I don't know if they're doing meditation for the quarterbacks at Oregon or some sort of retreat where they get these guys just calm, cool, collected. We've seen it with Dante through these first few games. We saw it with Bo. We saw it with Justin. We saw it with Gabriel. It seems like their heart rate does not go above 70 beats per minute ever when they're back there.
Well, at a certain point, a player will have the game start to slow up for him.
Mm-hmm.
Everything starts to go slow motion, and that's Dante Moore right now. He's looking at the field going, okay, this is easy. Okay, I see this. You know that guy, that Marvel guy, Flash Gordon, when I think his name is Flash Gordon. He's dodging stuff, and it's like slow motion. This bullet's just going past him in slow motion, like, okay, I'm not going to get shot because I can see everything. Dante Moore's back there. When he's dropping back, he's looking at coverages. I mean, he's just picking the defense apart because everything is slow. Everything is precise. He's done his homework. He looks like a vet, and he can run. I think he got hurt at one play. He was running the ball, or he threw the ball and got hit.
Got his helmet taken off a little bit.
Yeah, I'm thinking, don't get hurt now. I'm gonna stay healthy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, understand this: supporting cast, right? And if we can give maybe 5 player of the games to 5 offensive linemen,
yeah,
because they
kept him clean again.
Thank you. He's not touched.
Yeah.
He's sitting in the pocket for 4 seconds. He's not. It's like 7 on 7. He's not touched.
No, his tempo is, and this is like tempo in the situations where he has 4 or 5 seconds to throw. It's so good because he reads those situations so well. The poise that he's got in the pocket, it looked great again today. I know that he didn't even, top 200 yards, but it was just that presence that he had. That ball that was the interception, I think it just came out of his hand wrong, honestly. And so you look at the stats for him: 178, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. I don't think that his stats made him the player of the game today, but it was his overall presence and just the calming ability that he has.
Yeah.
Tez Johnson, man, last year after the Rose Bowl said, get ready to watch Dante Moore quarterback for Oregon next year because he is the guy. He already has an NFL arm, and frankly, I feel like the poise there, that pass to Sadiq at the end of the first half over that safety just looks so smooth. He makes the tough throws look easy, and when he has the time, he waits. When he knows that he doesn't have the time, he gets rid of it quick enough. I'm very impressed with what I've seen from Dante Moore so far this season. But yeah, it's the second game in a row to that point, Anthony, that he's had his head slammed into the ground. And he comes up again, second week in a row, with that stinging look on his face. It looks like he got his bell rung a little bit. Makes me wonder, watch this as the season goes on, Ducks fans, makes me wonder about a little bit of a concussion scare. 2 weeks in a row now, he's come up with that same look on his face, like, let's protect Dante Moore, and maybe the coach has got to tell him to start sliding and not putting his head first when he goes to, go towards the ground. I don't know.
But I just had to go back and look because I know that he didn't get sacked last weekend. He didn't get sacked against Montana State. He has not been sacked this
sacks.
year.
Not at all.
Damn.
Again, you look back at some of these stats so far from these first 3 games, and you're like, holy crap! No, haven't given up a passing touchdown, haven't been sacked, no penalties. I mean, it's just there's just been some really clean performances in this first part of game. Opponents be damned. It's like you are going and you are playing clean games, and especially, if you want to give player of the game, give it to the offensive line too.
But right now, here's the problem with the defense that's going against the Oregon's offense. You can't really blitz to put pressure on the quarterback to get sacks, because now it leaves one-on-one situations with your corners and safeties and maybe linebackers. Oregon has too many receivers, and coaches know this. There's too many receivers on the field to go one-on-one. If you go one-on-one with guys, you're going to lose that battle. So we can't – they're saying we can't give up the big play. Keep it in front of us. Don't give up the explosion play like Oregon, again, the last 3 games they live on, the explosion play. And so Dante is going to get some time to throw the football. And when the quarterback – I've always said this – when the quarterback has time to throw the football, he's going to pick you apart.
There was one pass, and it was actually kind of funny as far as the timing goes because he had the interception like 2 plays later. But he had a play in the third quarter, I want to say, where it might have been the beginning of the 4th, somewhere around there, where he booted out right, and he found Malik Benson on the right-hand side about 20-something yards.
Yeah.
And I think me and Joel Klatt were saying the same thing at the same time, like, oh, my God, what a throw.
That's right.
Like, he just has, like, he's efficient, he's smart with the ball, he's making the right choices, and then he has a play every now and then where he shows you that he is a damn good quarterback.
He has the arm.
Yes, exactly. So Dante Moore, our mountaintop metal roofing player of the game, but again, you can give it to so many guys, and you can really give it to that unit up front for keeping him clean. Once again, no sacks given up by this offensive line. And hey, if you want to flash back to a year ago after how that first game opened up and the questions about offensive line, you're seeing this running attack and you're seeing Dante stay clean. A far cry from where we were just 12 months ago. But we will take a break. We will come back. We got a whole nother hour of Ducks postgame here. Dick Hanna Dealership postgame scoreboard show on the Fan Sports Network. But first, Jordan with a weather update.
Appreciate it, Joe. 74 right now in downtown Portland. The Ducks post-game forecast calling for a low of 62. Tomorrow, possible rain, a high of 70, 71 degrees next weekend when Oregon hosts the Beavers.
Dusty here for Mountaintop Metal Roofing. When you find your home and you know you aren't going anywhere,
Scoreboard Show on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1, 1080, and the Odyssey app.
Dick Hanna Dealership's post-game scoreboard show here on the Fan Sports Network. You can text in, share your thoughts about this game, this Ducks team. 503-864-6326. That's fan. You can also jump on the YouTube chat, watch us there. Talking about Dante Moore in that last segment. We talked about the running back room, offensive line. I mean, through these first 3 games, Anthony, what has stood out to you the most? I know that we've talked about the blocking. Like, to me, that is something that has been a theme through the first 3 games. I think that the defense, what they've showed, but to you, it's if you can pinpoint the one thing that you've maybe seen year over year that is different about this Ducks team.
The size of the offensive line and how they block. They're aggressive.
Yeah.
So when I go stand on the sidelines and I see how big they really are, this is not the normal offensive line group for Oregon. These guys are gigantic. They're huge. And it's just, and when you're in pads, you look much bigger. And I've been around some big offensive linemen. But these guys, for kids, they are grown men. So when you're out there and and it's a size difference, and these guys are very athletic as well, that helps. If you're 330 and you can move your feet, how do you get off that block? And so I'm seeing that Oregon on both sides of the ball, they dominate the trenches. They take care of the offensive line. They take care of the running back. They take care of the quarterbacks. Defensive line, they're taking care of the linebackers. That in that first game, everybody was complaining about the linebackers didn't do anything. They didn't have to because it was the defensive lineman was doing everything. The DBs, my best friend are linemen because they take care of business up front so the quarterback can't throw the ball and I don't have to cover a guy more than 3 seconds. Or they slow a running back down. He's weighing 230 and he's looking at me trying to run me over. They slow him down. So that's what I'm seeing with this Oregon offense and Oregon defense. It's the guys up front.
Yeah, looking at the roster, I mean, Pregnon 6'5", 318, Dave Iuli 6'3", 332, Poncho 6'2", 329, Alex Harkey 6'6", 327, Isaiah World 6'8",
yes,
318.
Yes.
Well, it's again, they got that height, but they're not like for lack of words, they're not fat.
No, that's exactly right.
They're clean, slim, athletic. I mean, when you got a guy that's 6'8", 318, that is a well-dispersed 318.
Yeah, and when I say big, there's not like the offense of the old. They're just really,
where you got 5'11", 285 guards.
It's butts and guts. They're all butts and guts. These guys are lean. These guys are, they're like, like Tarzan. They're tall, 6'5", 6'8", 6'6", and big but lean. Got the long arms, and that's hard with an offensive tackle. If he's 6'8" and he has these long arms and they're gigantic, how do you get off his hands? How do you get off, around him? You can't because he's reaching you from 3 feet away. So it's difficult. Oregon didn't get these linemen in the past. These are new. These and plus, half of them, most of them are from, past the Rockies. Back in the day, everybody was from the West Coast. So the recruiting has changed tremendously. We're getting kids from all over the place who want to come to Autzen Stadium. They want to come to Eugene and play football for the Ducks. That is huge.
Yeah, it is pretty wild. Just again, as you mentioned, the offensive line and what they've done so far this year. Is that a matter of just getting the different dudes in here, the transfers? Pregnon and Harkey, is it coaching? Why is such a drastic difference?
The success of the team from, just from the last, 15 years, the Oregon Ducks, the colors, these kids, you got to wow kids by, doing other things, not just winning, but just other things. You have to win, but if you can do some other things and make it look cool. For example, when I'm looking at TV sometimes, and all of a sudden I'm watching a youth team in Mississippi, and they're called the Oregon Ducks. Are you kidding me? How did that happen? Down south, you got a team that looks like Oregon. They're in the 6th and 7th grade, and they're called the Oregon Ducks. And then these kids talk about growing up, I want to play for the Oregon Ducks. And they live in Mississippi.
It almost seems like because you hear that a lot with recruits and people that are on, east of the Mississippi, down south, they're like, Oregon's my dream school.
Yes.
I would love to go to Oregon. it's almost
That's
like
weird.
to them, it's like when they watch the Ducks on TV, to them it's like almost not even real. Like there's no way that there's this team up in Pacific Northwest and Eugene, Oregon that like what they're doing that. I want to go there. I want to see this for myself. I can't believe this. I gotta see if this is actually a real thing or not.
Right.
Like that's trying to put myself in their shoes. Like, yeah, you hear of Ole Miss and Bama and Georgia and Tennessee and all these, and you're like, yeah, I've been watching that for years, but I want to go see what that's like.
And for recruiting, you have to recruit all over. You got to go down south. You got to get the big boys down south. You got to go northeast and get the speed, the guys who can play, who can run, the big tight ends. And then you go down to Southern Cal and get the running backs and DBs. You go to Texas, get the DBs and the receivers. You have to be able to travel and get these guys. But I don't know with all the factors, but these kids, they want to go to Oregon. There's, like you said, it's their dream school, and they live in Texas, Fort Worth. What? You want to go to you want to go to? Do you even know where Oregon is?
Point it out on the map, please.
I know it's weird, but isn't that amazing? I mean, like I'm 36, and I still remember going to Ducks games as a season ticket holder, 14, 15, 16 years old. Yeah, it was an okay program, but nobody in Mississippi, nobody in SEC country was wanting to come to the Ducks.
Are you kidding me?
You talk about like, oh, you know where you are? Like people joked about Oregon even existing as a college. It's like, why the hell would you want to go play for the Oregon Ducks when you could stay and play for Ole Miss, when you could play for all these guys right here in home country? So I really appreciate it's really I don't put this on Mario Cristobal. I don't put it on any of the guys leading up to this. I know it's been a little bit of a climb up the mountain, but Dan Lanning and the recruiting prowess that he's brought, and not only him, he's picked his staff well. It's not he can't go to 100 living rooms. There's a lot of assistants. It's not just on the field that Tosh Lupoy on the defensive side and that Will Stein on the offensive side are so good. They're good in living rooms too, and I think that's actually forgotten about.
Well, and I don't want to take any credit away from what Mario did. I mean, like he was recruiting really well. He saw the importance of getting big dudes in the trenches.
He started it.
And, when he left, they were in the same coaching room in Alabama.
Yes, they were.
Dan was a grad assistant.
Yep, exactly right.
So it's like they are of the same ilk of like where, Mario left and Dan was like, oh, no, someone was doing what you needed to do.
Exactly.
It was more so on the field and the coaching and the situational stuff where you've seen that improvement. But yeah, I mean, it's just the recruiting, obviously, we've seen over the years tick up, but Dan is just kind of, what Mario was laying that foundation. He is, to use his words, they've doubled down on it.
Well, and then you look at the team, Oregon's team. They have 1,000 defensive backs that can play. That all can start somewhere. They got 1,000 running backs. It's like you're just loading up the team. It's like the team, like the USC team back in the day. They were just loaded with players.
Yeah.
And their backups were all Americans, but they didn't play. But they were all Americans.
Yeah, those 2000s Miami teams.
Alabama, Texas back in the day.
They're loaded with guys.
And I thought that was supposed to disappear in this new world of NIL, but apparently Oregon has either got the right vibe in their program to get guys to play above their standard, or they're able to somehow get these very talented guys to buy in. I mean, Jurion Dickey, who just left the program this week, remember, speaking of Mario Cristobal, stayed through the Dan Lanning transition because he believed in being a Duck. Now, I'm not saying anything about this summer, but I'm saying that there seems to be a vibe in the program where people want to buy in. And talented guys that could play elsewhere, just from the outside looking in, they'd rather play for Oregon, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of mentioned it there, is that the buy-in from everybody in these first few weeks, it just seems that everybody is fully invested in each other's success and the team's success and playing for each other, which is, to get everybody on the same page. Hell, I have coached youth basketball and trying to get those kids just to all care about each other. Like that is, I mean, again, the buy-in obviously at this level much more, but to try and do that with 80, 90, 100 players on the sideline and all just being like, I do not care about individual stats. I don't care about getting mine. I care about getting the W and making this team do something that we've never done before.
And one more thing, and think about it. And I think this credit goes to the coaches. You can get a bunch of good players on your football team, but they may not play together well.
Yeah.
You have to find a way to make this team a family, to have that bond. And Dan Lanning and his staff, they do a great job. When you watch these guys play today, they're having fun together. They're celebrating together.
Yeah.
They're happy for each other. And you don't see that a lot with a lot of different teams. And because everybody in all these studs, they got ego problems. It's all about me. This is what I want. This team looks like it's all about we.
Yes.
And that's very important.
Yes, very true. Very true. Take a quick break. If you're hanging with us, you can text in to the text line, 503-864-6326. Or you can jump on the YouTube chat. Let's take a quick break from the Ducks and take a look at the college landscape. If you're out in your car, if you're out at the kids' soccer game or football game this weekend and you're listening to us, appreciate you. But let's take a look at the national landscape because we got a good game in Tennessee right now. I don't know if the Oregon State game is kicked off yet. I know there was a lightning delay there. So let's take a look at the college football scoreboard next year on the Deckhand Dealers post-game scoreboard show. But first, Jordan Schultz with weather update.
Thank you, Joe. 76 in Portland. The Ducks post-game forecast calling for a low of 62. Tomorrow, a high of 70, possible rain. 71 degrees next weekend when Oregon hosts Oregon State.
Duck fans, game day is here, and you need fuel to cheer.
On 2nd and 10. Snap, back to throw. Straight drop, pressure comes, throws it over the middle, intercepted. He intercepts Jerry Mixon again. Is not going to get a touchdown. I don't think. He's all the way to the 40. Blockers take him down at the 40, 35-yard line of Northwestern. Looked like he was going. He had blockers on the outside. I'm going, here we go again. And then somebody caught up with him from the side.
Dick Hanna Dealerships presents the Postgame Scoreboard Show on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1, 1080, and the Odyssey app.
Dick Hanna Dealerships post-game scoreboard show here on the Fan Sports Network. I'm Joe Fisher III. Across the faux marble table, we got Anthony Newman rocking with us today. He didn't have to wake up early with, I guess with Dusty. Dirt didn't wake up early. He recorded the pregame show. That's a smart move. I will give him credit on that.
You're not supposed to reveal our secrets here at the Fan Sports Network.
Listen, I think everybody would understand that one.
I think they would.
Yeah.
So. I have worked for other evil empires that made me come in, though. Anthony, I'm sure you remember at 4 a.m. We've been there, brother.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm just thankful Dusty didn't didn't stick to the schedule and be like, nope, you guys are starting the pregame show 4 hours ahead, and we're doing Sports Saturday at 3 a.m. as well. I'll see you then.
I have hosted at 2 a.m., and it's who's listening out there in the PNW? Nobody.
Well, let's take a look at the college football scoreboard. Some games going on right now. Penn State, who the Ducks will see in a couple weeks, they were up 21-0 on Villanova. Raise your hand if you knew that Villanova even had a football team. I could have sworn they only did basketball, but I guess
no idea.
I guess Villanova has a football team, if you want to call it that. They're losing 21-0 to Penn State.
Good for them.
Right now, over on, I believe it's ABC, good game in the SEC. Got Tennessee, Georgia. Tennessee is up 21-17 with just a few seconds before halftime. Tennessee, this would be a huge win for them if they were able to pull this off.
Georgia is missing their defense. Something happened to their defense. They're giving up some points.
Yeah.
And they're not the same. Maybe it's they don't have the dudes. And Kirby Smart said that in an interview. He says, "Hey, I have guys on my football team who can play, so it makes me, coaching the game makes it much easier. I can make mistakes, but they make me look good."
Some other games going on right now. Top 25 teams. Iowa State up 9-3 on Arkansas State with almost about 5 minutes left to go in the first half. Texas up 7-0 on the UTEP Miners. That's halfway through the second quarter there, too. Texas up only 7-0 on UTEP with 8 minutes left to go in the first half.
Maybe they had an early start.
Arch Manning, maybe. 4 of 8, 58 yards and a pick for Arch Manning. So
pick already?
Yeah, so get ready for more Arch Manning is he the guy talk on the national shows going forward. On the C-Dub, the CW Network getting a top 25 matchup this week. I'm sure when they had this on the schedule to start the year, they didn't think this would have as many eyeballs, but sure enough, South Florida now ranked 18th in the country, taking on Miami, number 5. South Florida trying to get their third straight top 25 victory. Not going so well. Miami up 14-3 with just a few seconds left to go in the first quarter. Lock can happen.
I really want South Florida to win, man.
I think everybody wants South Florida to win.
After that last game, I don't know if anybody saw the clip of their head coach in the locker room saying, tonight you own the state of Florida. I was like, yeah! It got me going. And I'm from Oregon, man.
Jordan will be rocking South Florida green and gold next week.
Basically.
For the post-game show. Some games that went final today. Clemson. Dude. They lose to Georgia Tech 24-21. Clemson coming into the season, what were they, ranked 4th overall?
Yeah, they were up there.
4th or 5th, yeah.
Yeah, they were up there. Top 5, I believe. Yes, for sure.
I mean, a lot of people were buying into their stock this season. I mean, with Cade Klubnik obviously coming back, being a veteran quarterback, their defensive front was nasty.
Yep, number 3.
Well, sorry, number 3 in the preseason, and then the AP came out number 4.
Gotcha.
Top 5.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. 24-21, though, Georgia Tech. Brent Key, man, you want to talk about another guy that was in that Alabama coaching room with Cristobal and Dan Lane. Brent Key was there also. Got Georgia Tech at 3-0.
Georgia Tech running that wing T football.
Haynes King,
1940 football.
Haynes King is a beast. 20 of 28, 211 yards, 25 carries, and 103 yards for Haynes King and a touchdown as Georgia Tech upsets Clemson 24-21. Oklahoma ran away with it against Temple 42-3. Alabama 38-14. Go back and watch the Ryan Williams. He had 2 touchdowns, one on a screenplay where he had a convoy of linemen, and then he had another touchdown catch where he snatched some ankles on that one. He had a guy for Wisconsin just flying by. Me and Anthony were talking about this in the break. Wisconsin, man.
Oh, they look bad.
Luke Fickell, I don't know what his buyout looks like, but
can't be that big.
We'll see what happens the rest of the year to this Wisconsin team, because this is now year 3. I feel like for that Wisconsin team under Luke Fickell, and it's looking pretty fickle there for the Wisconsin Badgers.
Hey.
Michigan bludgeoned Central Michigan 63-3. I wonder if they knew the signs and knew the calls of Central Michigan. Isn't that where Connor Stallion was on the sideline with the Central Michigan hat
I believe
a couple of years ago? 63-3. Auburn barely escaped South Alabama 31-15. Missouri 52-10 over Louisiana. That's your top 25. There is one other top 25 game that is supposed to have started by now, but it's still in a weather delay. Texas Tech, Oregon State. It has yet to kick off, and this from
it did kick off actually.
Oh,
so
it did?
It's 12:38 to go in the first quarter. I think Oregon State had a 3-and-out, and then they punted the ball. So basically one possession has happened.
So they got the snap.
Yeah, that's
okay.
They did get the snap.
They were snap the ball to the punter.
Okay, because I saw
a good question, Anthony.
Well, I saw Ryan Clark, who he comes on Dirt and Sprague from time to time. He's the Oregon State beat writer for the Oregonian. He said that there was a lightning strike recorded at 4:10 local time, and the new alleged start time for Oregon State Texas Tech was 2:55 local here. So I don't know if they were able to get out there and start earlier, is what it sounds like, Jordan? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I see stats here. So yeah, each team has had the ball once, it looks like.
Okay.
And we're just kind of waiting.
Got to refresh my page.
No,
here,
it's not you, brother. It's delayed. You gotta look deep.
Oh,
it's really not
so the
you.
game did start.
Yeah.
They had to go into the locker room for the lightning delay, so they literally got to go out there for like 5 minutes.
They're not very good at like getting this info out to us.
Well, hey, I mean, we're lucky that the Ducks game started on time today, because if you saw any of the images out there at Northwestern before the game, it was insane. It was
crazy.
It looked like a monsoon was happening there.
Apocalyptic.
Yeah, that was wild. So that is the top 25 scoreboard right now. We'll take a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll hear Coach Dan Lanning's thoughts on this win against Northwestern. Ducks win 34-14. This is the Dick Hanna Dealers post-game scoreboard show. But first, Jordan Schultz with a weather update.
Thank you, Joe. 77 now in Portland, heating up. The Ducks post-game forecast calls for a low of 62. Tomorrow, possible rain, a high of 70.
At Dick Hanna, we know that buying a car can feel like
Davison under center is Dante Moore. He'll turn and give it to Davison on shore. Sadiq in motion, return, give it to Davison, going right. Powers into the end zone, touchdown. Jordan Davison. That's his 5th touchdown. Gotta start calling him T.D. Davison, right? Not T.D. Leakio anymore, it's T.D. Davison.
Decana Dealerships presents the Postgame Scoreboard Show on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1, 1080, and the Odyssey app.
Decana Dealers Postgame Scoreboard Show here on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM, 1080 AM. Wanted to give a couple other quick score updates. Washington State, oh my God. I saw a tweet that just talked about their first half drives. They had 5 turnovers in the first half. They are losing to North Texas at halftime, 42-3.
Who's worse, Beavers or the Cougars?
We'll see today. We'll see if Oregon State can
Washington State is bad. That's bad. 42-2 at halftime, or 3 at halftime? Come on.
Would you rather have 5 turnovers or be missing a long snapper? If you had to pick, as a coach, Anthony, which one would you want? My
Neither.
God. Yeah, no kidding. This is bad.
I choose death.
Depths of irrelevancy for both programs now.
And then another game in the Big Ten that went final last night. I wanted to bring this up because there is a local tie there. New Mexico beating UCLA 35-10. One, UCLA, gross. But Jason Eck, he was the coach at Idaho last year.
Yep.
He came over from Idaho to New Mexico, gets a huge win. And then you got the local product, that quarterback for New Mexico, Jack Lane, former Lake Oswego kid.
Hello.
They go into L.A. and they get a big win for that program.
That's
Go
huge.
Lobos,
That's
baby.
Huge.
How about that?
That's huge.
We got a little bit of post-game audio here. Dusty Hara talking with Coach Dan Lanning after the Ducks win 34-14 against Northwestern.
Coach Lanning, we're 1-0 again this week, and adversity can show its face in a variety of ways. And this one, first road game of the year, early kick, some weird weather. What'd you learn about your team through all of it?
Well, just that we can still be so much better, right? And there's some really good things. We got put in some tough situations, had a lot of second and longs. I thought a lot of credit to Northwestern. They had a great plan for us, but I thought our quarterback operated well. Wind affected us on that one throw that ended up getting intercepted. I thought our defense was advantageous when it came to the ball. We got to do a better job of choking people out on first down, and that's going to be something that we got to get better at. But ultimately, we went on the road and came away with the W.
Those linebackers come up with 2 more interceptions this week after you had Jerry Mixon with the pick 6 last week. What is it about those guys in coverage that is leading to those big plays?
Yeah, they have a good understanding where the ball's going to be at. They play with great vision, and they're allowed and able to go attack the ball when they get those opportunities. They did a good job of that today.
Dante Moore, again, efficient with the football, 16 of 20, 178 yards and a touchdown today. But it was kind of the plays that he made in the critical situations. What have you seen from him, and as from a growth standpoint, from week to week? Because he looks like he is in total command.
Yeah, I think he had great control of the offense today. I know the statistics don't necessarily share that story, but some of the plays he made with his feet, some of the ways he kept the play alive, the decisions that he made were really good today. Even the pick, he's throwing it to the right guy. We just didn't have enough air on the ball.
De'Ara Hill, true freshman coming in, home state. He puts on a show for the home crowd. That young man, you use him in a variety of ways. What has his skill set really shown to you guys as a coaching staff?
He's an explosive playmaker, man. Plays for the love of the game, loves his teammates, and works extremely hard. So I'm really excited to see him continue to have a big role in this offense.
Your defense on critical downs, 3 of 11 on third down for Northwestern, holding them into situations where you mentioned it, on first down. You hope that they're not in third and short, but they bowed their back in those critical down situations.
Yeah, had some great stops, but also gave up some conversions. So there's some room there for us to grow.
All right, Coach, congratulations. 1-0 again this week, and next week heading back to Autzen Stadium.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
There's head coach Dan Lanning with our very own Dusty Hara. He brought up a point there about the interception that I heard Jerry and Jory and Dusty talking about, is that maybe the wind might have affected that interception, because they're saying with some of these punts and kickoffs that once the ball got to a certain height that the wind was just carrying it or holding it up. So the wind probably played a little bit more of a factor on that interception for Dante Moore than that we didn't see on TV.
And sometimes when you don't practice in those conditions and it's windy, you're not used to it.
Yeah.
So you think, okay, I'm just going to loft this ball up there, and you loft it up there, and then the wind takes it.
Dusty had a good analogy. It's like, it's like when you hit your pitching wedge and you're like, all right, that's going to get there. Oh, no. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, no, it's going to be 30 yards short. Oh, boy. And I know that story all too well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was Coach Dan Lanning there with Dusty Hara. We're going to take a quick break and come back because we gotta make our lock of the week, Anthony. Legends Casino Hotel lock of the week.
Let's go.
I hope nobody out there had any money on Washington State to cover today. Maybe you can go hedge your bets somewhere else in some other action.
Terrible. They're doo-doo.
I was waiting for it. First doo-doo of the season.
Yes.
There we go. Take a quick break. Come back with our Legends Casino Hotel lock of the week. But first, Jordan Schultz, weather update.
Thanks, Joe. 77 here in Portland. The Ducks postgame forecast calls for a low of 62. Tomorrow, possible rain and a high of 70. 71 degrees next weekend when Oregon hosts Oregon State.
Coors Light presents To Chill or
Ticket and Dealers post-game scoreboard show here on the Fan Sports Network. I'm Joe Fisher III. Anthony Newman here in studio with us today. Jordan Schultz, as always. It is time, though, for the Legends Casino Hotel Lock of the Week. Boy, I'm glad we didn't have a Sports Saturday, Jordan, because my picks last week did not go too well for me, especially in the college ranks. Anthony, my two picks on Sports Saturday last week, I went with Kansas State to cover against Army. And they just lost outright.
Yes.
And then, what was my other one? West Virginia against Ohio. I was like, West Virginia, they're favored by 3.5. I'm like, there's no way that Ohio, come on, is West Virginia really that bad? Lost outright.
Yes.
They went to, and I made that pick, and then like an hour after the show, I'm scrolling through Twitter, looking at stuff, and then I see like Ohio is treating this like their national championship. The fans are all there, they're going crazy, and I'm like, oh no, I think I chose this one wrong.
So what about this week?
This week, let's see if I can have a little bounce back here.
Redemption.
Maybe I just need to go with like a game where it's a top 25 team that is just playing an absolute patsy, so that way I can give myself an easy win. Have them cover a 28-point spread by winning 70-0. I mean, there's a game later today on ABC, LSU, Florida. LSU is favored by 6.5. I know Florida's coming off that loss against South Florida, so you're maybe thinking bounce back. I'm not. I'm thinking LSU's covering. I think LSU is a much better team than Florida is. I'm gonna take LSU with a big win at home over Florida.
Good pick. I like that.
Yeah, covering that 6.5. Yeah.
LSU is the better team.
Yes,
they are.
Yeah.
You're right.
I mean, I like DJ Lagway, but I just think that after a loss like that, Billy Napier was already close to losing the locker room last year in that team, and then they had some decent performances, but I think you go into Death Valley, LSU.
Yes, indeed.
Best of luck. Best of luck. Yeah. Jordan, you got anything on the radar over there?
Well, since it's delayed, my lock of the week going into the weekend was Oregon State, Texas Tech. I believe the spread on that game was, depending on where you got it, like 21.5 to 23.5. It doesn't matter to me. I think Texas Tech is going to beat that ass, and I think Oregon State is going to lose very handedly, so I wouldn't be surprised by like a 30-point beat down by the Red Raiders. So that is my lock of the week. Cover the spread against the Beavs.
I agree.
Thank you, Anthony. I'm glad that...
Not because I'm a duck. I'm just saying I agree. Because it's fact.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, it's not just because I want it to happen.
Well, maybe I don't know if you got a lock of the weekend thing, but what game do you got your eye on at least? What's the game that you're going to be locked in on?
No, the one you're talking about, the one you just talked about.
Yeah,
LSU.
Florida LSU.
Yeah. I like Garrett Nussmeier. That offense, they can score points. And Florida, they're not Florida of the old. LSU, these guys got guys on defense. They got a great quarterback, and they got some skilled receivers who can play.
Do you see what Florida's schedule looks like over the next month or so? Well, I'll tell you. They got LSU today. Next week, I believe, is against Miami. And then the week after, actually, they're going to get a bye week because then they got to go. Then they host Texas, and then after that, they got to go to Kyle Field against Texas A&M.
Oh, serious?
And then they
don't have a day off.
And then you'll host Mississippi State, who is riding a high right now after upsetting Arizona State. Blake Shapen looking really good for Mississippi State. Then they'll get a bye week. Then they'll take on Georgia. I mean, the next month and a half for Florida. Woof. Best of luck on that one.
Really.
That is going to be
a tough one.
Yeah, that's going to be real tough. As far as other games, I kind of locked in on it. I mean, we got our other top 25 matchup today. It's at 4:30 as well on NBC or Peacock. Top 25 matchup between Texas A&M and Notre Dame. Really intrigued to see how Notre Dame bounces back after their loss to Miami. And we were talking about a little bit ago in the break. Texas A&M, man, they're just like one of those teams that and I feel like I read an article weeks ago that was what teams are constantly ranked high to start the season and then end up falling out or not living up to expectations. And Texas A&M is that team. I mean, talk about if they're able to go into Notre Dame and get a win, That would be huge for that program.
I swear, it's half of the SEC teams that are ranked high. They all
by the end of the season.
By the end of the season, they all fall out.
That or like USC.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
All right, so that is the Legends Casino Hotel Lock of the Week. It's brought to you by Legends Casino Hotel in Toppenish. Legends Casino Hotel within winning distance online at legendscasino.com. Take a break, get a weather update here from Jordan, and then I think we're going to preview the game next week against Oregon State and get out of here. I believe that's how the schedule goes. We've got 2 more breaks? 2 more breaks. All right. We will take one here, though, and then to get back to the Dick Hanna Dealers post-game scoreboard show right here on the Fan Sports Network. First, George Schultz, weather update.
Thanks, Joe. Getting warm this afternoon. 78 in downtown Portland. The Ducks postgame forecast calls for a low of 62. Tomorrow, rain and a high of 70. 71 next week when Oregon hosts Oregon State.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving
Back at the Northwestern 48-yard line. Right hash, 2 receivers each way for Preston Stone, the quarterback. Graduate student, snap and back to throw. Looking right, down the middle, tie and incomplete. Ball is intercepted. Betcher picked it out of the air, and Oregon has it inside the 40. Still on his feet at the 30. Inside of the 25. Finally a pile. Pulls him down at about the 21-yard line.
Dick Hanna Dealerships presents the post-game scoreboard show on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1, 1080, and the Odyssey app.
Welcome back into the Dick Hanna Dealers post-game scoreboard show. Give our final thoughts on this Ducks victory here before previewing next week. The Ducks win against Northwestern 34-14. Kind of a slow start, but not surprised with the 9 a.m. kickoff out there over in Northwestern. Ducks jump out to a 7-0 lead in the first quarter there. Able to add on a 10 spot in the second quarter, make it a 17-0 halftime score. Then get a couple touchdowns. They're up 34-0 going into that fourth quarter, get a field goal, and then give up a couple touchdowns late for Northwestern to cover the spread and give you the final score of 34-14. Dante Moore, 16-20, 178 yards, a touchdown, and an interception For the running back room, De'Aaron Hill leads rushers with 94 yards, 66 of those coming on a touchdown run for him. You also had Lamar, 11 carries, 38 for a touchdown. Jay Harris, 3 for 25. Receiving room, Malik Benson, 4 catches for 62 yards. I'm glad to see that he's starting to get that work early because he's now on his 3rd stop. So him starting to be productive for the Ducks. I love to see that. Corian Moore, 4 for 49. Kenyon Sadiq, 2 catches for 35 and a touchdown. You also had Jamari Johnson, the tight end transfer from Louisville, 2 catches for 22. Jeremiah McClellan, 2 for 9 yards. And then
is that 7 receivers or 8? I mean, that's a lot of receivers.
Cooper Perry had 2 catches. Casper had a catch.
Spreading the wealth.
Yes, sir. Let's talk about that De'Aaron Hill touchdown run because once he hit the corner, man, that was one of those where I'm like, they might trip him up, might get the shoe streak. Oh no, they're not going to touch him. He's gone.
Well, I saw his speed on that reverse. Was that Montana State that he ran the touchdown in?
That was last week.
Oh, that was last week.
Yeah,
that was just last week.
Where you had Sadiq blocking into the ground.
Yeah,
and
yes.
Harkey's all the way in the end zone blocking.
Yes, and he had to avoid an outside linebacker that came up the field, and he got outside, and that's when I saw his speed. I saw his speed in practice. But this was, like I said, is he a receiver or is he a running back? You can put him all over the place. Yes,
Athlete.
For both. Yes.
Yeah.
God,
you
it's
said
fun.
he doesn't look like DeAnthony Thomas per se, but that speed looks like DeAnthony Thomas is around the end, man.
He can go. Yeah.
Yeah, so Ducks, they get the win 34-14 here.
As we wrap this up, Joe, just let me say, I am so excited that the Oregon Ducks went into that cracker box of a freaking stadium and beat that ass today. I am going to bag on Northwestern here for a second, okay? At times,
they're waiting for their stadium. Come on.
Why do they even need a new stadium? College football can exist without the likes of Northwestern. Guess, guys, in their 100+ years of history, how many 10-win seasons do you think Northwestern has?
Ooh, I'm going to go 5.
Anthony?
Do you know this?
I do.
Did you look this up?
2.
Anthony is close. It is 3, but I'm going to give him 2 because one of them was back in 1903. Okay? Northwestern is one of the most irrelevant college football programs, minus 1 10-win season from Pat Fitzgerald, minus what Brian Urlacher coming out of Northwestern. Probably a quarterback or 2. I can't think of anything that they've done to contribute to the world of college football.
Hey, 1903 Northwestern team was a problem, though. Okay.
I just want to say that it was nice to see.
What offense did they run?
No, the wishbone or the no throw the ball bone.
I think they were doing like a rugby offense where you just keep kind of pitching it back to some guys.
Yeah, back then they said throwing the ball forward was bad, right?
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to say it was nice to see Oregon go whoop their ass. The final score didn't look as good, but you know what? Man, Northwestern doesn't belong in the Big Ten,
Man,
and
you
it
let
was
loose. You just let it go.
It's nice to see Oregon beat up.
What did Northwestern do to you?
That's what
Nothing.
Did he have an ex that he went to Northwestern?
We have never talked about Northwestern until this year.
It was just seeing the start of the game and the literal high school stadium. I get it. They're waiting for their full stadium, but literally Oregon going in and playing at a high school stadium on the water with music being blasted to try to match the level of crowd noise. I'm like, oh my God, I'm watching a middle school football game. Okay.
Well, luckily the Ducks will come back home next week. It will be Autzen Stadium. We'll be rocking again.
Oh, here we go.
Because it is rivalry week.
Here we go.
I don't care what the situation is between these two schools. Whenever Monday comes around of rivalry week, you want to talk about creating your own juice. You don't need to create juice for a rivalry week. Oregon taking on Oregon State. As far as for me, what I think that you need to focus on during this week of practice, and again, it's a good thing it happened against Northwestern, that run defense, man. Shut it down. Make Malik Murphy beat you.
Yeah, I can't say too many things about Oregon State because now my son-in-law will say something. Jaden Grant, but he's in Canada. He's playing ball up there with so they can't listen to me right now. But I think it's gonna. I'm saying this because what I've watched both teams. It's gonna be a blowout.
Yeah, it's
I'm letting you know it doesn't look good for Oregon State.
Well, and I think that this will be their last, real tune-up before Penn State. We all know you don't want to look ahead, and I know that Dan will not have them do this, but you want to have this be a clean, perfect game again for this Oregon team because of what lies ahead when you start getting into conference play even more and start facing some of these tougher opponents. But yeah, I would say just, clean up that run defense. Secondary, keep doing what you're doing.
Yep.
Keep Malik Murphy in check. It's probably going to be the best quarterback you've played so far.
Oh, yeah. Yes. But also you got a defensive line that can get to the quarterback. And I want to see the pressure that the quarterback has to deal with, again, without blitzing. Just a 4-man rush, 3-man rush.
All right, take a break, and then we will come here and wrap things up on the Dick Hanna Dealers post-game scoreboard show. Weather with Jordan Schultz, though.
Thanks, Joe. 78 right now in Portland. The Ducks post-game forecast calling for a low of 72. Tomorrow, possible rain and a high of 70. 71 next week as the Beavers come to Autzen.
Worried about market losses? If headlines are keeping you up at night, it's time to take control. Hi, I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I know you've worked hard to save. But in times like these, what if can turn into what now? If you're planning to retire or are in retirement, you need a strategy that helps protect your future. At Trajan Wealth, you can capture market gains, protect your account from losses, and guarantee income for life. Right now, you could receive a bonus of up to 30% or annual growth of up to 10% for retirement income. You heard me right. An upfront bonus of up to 30% or annual growth of up to 10%, all guaranteed to boost
It's a good win.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And I feel like that can't be overlooked is the hey, this is your first away game. Understand what it's like, and you're, somewhat at a disadvantage with the early kick.
Yes.
Learn, get your process. As Dusty told me earlier in the week, what Dan was telling the guys, create your own juice, especially in the high school stadium they're playing.
12,000 people.
Call it what it is.
But yeah, I mean, the away game aspect of it, understand what that is like. So that way, in 2 weeks, when you go to a much different environment in Penn State,
Whiteout,
you're at least used to what that away game atmosphere is like, or a away game routine is like, rather. Jordan, what do you got for final takeaways from this game as we head into Civil War week next week?
It was really encouraging, despite some of the other miscues for Oregon. We briefly hit on it, to see no penalties. I mean, no mistakes in that regard. I do feel like Anthony said the discipline is there. I'm excited to see that going forward, and hopefully we can see another step for Dante Moore in the Heisman conversation in the next couple of weeks. That's really something going into Penn State that I would like to see the national media really high on Dante Moore. I think we're going to need to see a pretty big stat day from him, but shouldn't be a problem. So that's one thing other than the penalties I'm looking for. I want to see Dante Moore go off against the Beavers in the Civil War next week.
Yeah, I am very intrigued to see how this defense plays. I would say, say what you want about Oregon State. Their offense looked good last week. This is going to be the best offense they've played so far. Malik Murphy's had a couple games where he's gotten over 300 yards, I want to say. They were able to run the ball pretty effectively against Fresno State. So this will be the next test for this Oregon defense. That I am intrigued to see how they do against a better quarterback, better running back, just better offensive unit overall.
I think it's the Oregon offense that's the problem for them.
Yes.
Because now the Oregon State's offense might have to change because they're playing catch-up.
Yes. Yep. I agree with you 100%. Well, they will kick off next week at 12 o'clock down in Autzen. Early wake-up call for everybody. Anthony will be down there with Dusty and Dirt. Jordan and I will be here with Rashad at 6 a.m.
Yes, we will.
I will not say what Rashad said in the text message group about that. But
no, we won't.
Hey, he'll be here. He'll be ready. He'll be juiced. We got the smelling salts out there still.
He's got juice, that's for sure, but it may not be about this.
Well, Oregon, they get the win against Northwestern. Their first Big 10 matchup of the year, 34-14. Have a great rest of your Saturday watching the rest of the college football slate. Anthony, thank you for coming in today for the post-game scoreboard show.
Thank you.
Jordan, thank you as always.
Excited to watch that, man. Thank you, Joe. Go Ducks, everybody.
Yes, sir. Go Ducks. Great win for them. And as I said, have a great Saturday out there, everybody.
This has been the Dick Hanna